Hey everybody, Brad Linder again with you tonight. I was going to be on for this afternoon, but I apologize. I'm going to be inking Cap out of this trio tonight because I had an incident here at home. Uh, we had an air conditioning problem today, and we had to handle that problem, and I had to wait for it to be repaired. We got a guy coming tomorrow. We've got it fixed temporarily for the moment, but we've got a guy coming in tomorrow to take care of it and for good to make it stick. And I just wanted to go live with this and not break the chain for the year and keep it up. So I'm going to share this over with the page, and then I'm going to go ahead and ink this guy and get him going. That way you guys have something for tonight. And tomorrow I'll be back with Namer. So got that going on. Let's see, making sure it's shared with the page. Cool, we are good to go. Now, bear with me just a second. I'm going to turn my phone down so no one's rude and calls in. It's kind of late for that. But as a special side note, you guys are going to get something really cool, too, because I'm going to use my brand new microns on you guys for this little piece of experimentation here for the artwork. So, anyway, I'm going to start out with my trusty Pilot here, which I love these gel pens for these type of pieces because the ink is really dark and intense. So that's what I'm going to start with, all right? And like I said, I apologize for not coming on and to finish this piece out with the Submariner, but I did not get the chance to lay him out on the page like I was going to today. Like I said, that had to take precedence. My daughter's homeschooled, and my home office is here as well, so I had to take care of business to get, the family taken care of and whatnot. We got everything, and it's nice. Going to be nice and cool tonight and whatnot. So anyway, that was a major, a major issue. We're going to have that taken care of in the morning. But as we go on right now, I'm just going to ink this because of time and expediency so you guys can see something. And not to mention the fact that I never do this on camera anymore. It's been ages since I've inked one on camera, so you guys are getting a special treat here today with this deal because I ink so quick and just lay down the line and go right over the graphite 99% of the time. I mean, I wouldn't do this for a comic page. I would use a kneaded eraser on this and lighten it up, but because of the fact it's so close to the midnight hour, I'm just going to kind of kick this out. And still within 24-hour period, finally getting this done. But I'm going to jump the gun a little bit and ink this piece so that you guys can see it before it's actually finished with the penciling elements, because we've got Namer to add up here, the Submariner. He's going to go up top over here. And I'm just going to kind of work on this a bit and hammer it out, and I might even throw down some colors for it so we can see how that goes. But I did not want to break the chain, and I wanted to do something consecutively with this piece, so that's why we moved around for that for today's show. But the thing is, like I said, still here, still hammering it out, still doing my thing, and I wanted to do 365 days consecutively, and we're working on it. So, still on that goal. And gonna knock this bad boy out. Normally I would use a brush here, but like I said, this being a sketch piece, it's a little more lenient, but it'll still look solid enough for you guys to buy it. So, if you decide to pick it up, I don't know who's going to get this one. I don't know what that's going to entail just yet, but we'll see. You guys may not want this one. I don't know. We'll have to see. May get it finished up and you're like, this sucks. So, hope not, but it could happen. It could happen. Now I'm going to go over these sticker lines. This is a 0.5, so I'm going to keep going with these sticker lines and outline everything, and then I'll come in with a 3 for the thinner interior lines of his face and whatnot, so we can get all that going on. So I'm going to put a thick outline around here, get the heavy lines, the weight lines in, and then I'm going to switch over to this 03 so we can get some of the finer stuff in here. But this mask is a heavy canvas, so it's not going to be very complex at all. Not going to be very complex at all. It'll definitely hang with the 5. So, and I don't try to get fancy with it. I keep my lines very clean because of the fact that I don't want to try and get all, all over the place. The reason I don't do that is I learned a long time ago. It's like singing. You know how Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston go on those wild runs and hit all the different chain notes and hit the really, really super high notes and all that mess, which is fine for them to do. I learned a long time ago when I do that, it's like my voice cracks, So I don't do that. I know my range, and when I start feathering and getting into cross hatching and all that stuff, it tends to weigh down the artwork quite a bit because I end up messing it up and over detailing, and then you have a mess out of balance because somewhere is going to be unscathed with that mess, and then I'm going to end up leaving a big chunk of it undone, and I don't want to do that. So I don't like going in and doing the heavy cross hatching and all that because I'm just not good at it. Like Scott Williams can go in and lay down lines just pretty much everywhere, and it'll still look good. Hey, John, glad you made it, man. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to be doing the Submariner tomorrow, just to be clear. Just to be clear. I was going to finish this piece up, but like I said, personal issues got in the way, and it was the first day of anything over 85 maybe today, and we hit a high of 87 here in the city, and it was crazy. So it got hot. So had to take care of that for the family and all that, but we're good to go. So again, I apologize for not doing Namor tonight, but we will recover that tomorrow as life happens. And the show must go on, right? So I lined up to do the quickest thing I had in hand because I didn't want to throw down just a simple card and leave everybody hanging with, hey, man, what happened to Cap? That kind of deal. So I didn't go that route. I'm adjusting my pins so I don't knock them all off the desk. I didn't want to go that route and leave you guys hanging for a couple of days with it. I wanted to finish it up because this is a really cool piece. And I know I've been getting a lot of questions about everything you can do in comics with this piece because it's a massive one and it's a lot larger than what I do with the 11x17. So, this is one that is full comic size with this particular scale. And my cards are 2.5 by 3.5. So, or 3 by 5. Sorry. 3.5 by 5, yeah. Standard index. So, and gonna knock this bad boy out. Drop in this heavy A and make it have some dimension. So now I was going to talk about the Submariner tonight with Bill Everett's work on that character. It was insane, man. That is just crazy stuff. I really like a lot of his stuff. I have it in trade collections and graphic novel format. I don't have much of his work on hand comic wise because of the fact that it's just too daggum expensive to keep displayed out and about. You know, you have to keep it safe, and that's just too enticing for someone to mess around with something, you know, and come after it and try to make it theirs illegally. So I tend not to do that. However, it being contemporary art these days, you know, it is really cool that comics are so well accepted into the pop culture to where you can have them as art. I mean, I have some newer pieces of stuff that I keep around, but I try not to show off too much of this stuff. I'm a little paranoid about putting it out because it's my collection, you know. It's like somebody coming in and taking something, you know. It's like, man, you took my identity. Stop it. Give me back my comic art. So, anyway, if you guys get a chance to get some, I would highly suggest it because of the fact that it is cool to have. But like I said, make sure you have, you know, everything on display. And a lot of it's in storage because of the fact that we just, you know, I have so much of this stuff. And my daughter and I have so much of our stuff around anyway at any given time. It's just kind of hard to keep it all out. You know how it goes. You have to be seasonal with it and kind of put stuff out and then put it away and then put new stuff out and change it up once in a while. And yeah, I like doing that. I like to change it up every couple of months. Just change up the hanging art, that kind of thing. However, I still have my Jim Lee trio hanging above my other desk across the office, and I have a heavy-duty set of black steel frames that they're in from the three-part poster of X-Men #1 that he did in the new volume in the 90s, in the reboot. So I've had those posters for years, and they were special prints. You had to buy them, special pre-order, way back in 91 or 92. So that was crazy stuff. But to each their own. And the funny thing is I'm not that massive of a Jim Lee fan now. I've grown past that phase, and I'm into more of the Silver Age stuff now than the modern stuff. So now I'm using the paintbrush here, by the way, if you're asking about it. I'm using the paintbrush that comes in the kit, the Micron's comic inking kit. It comes in this little funky pack by Pigma. They're pretty cool. It even comes with a 7.7 pencil. They're about, I don't know, about, I guess, $10 on average. So, but I like to ink some of this stuff up with the brush and thicken it up as I go along. I know I'm going the negative. I'm going to the negative here. Everybody's freaking out. And if you want to know what the negative was, I went from the point, from the exterior point, which is supposed to be a swoosh out with the brush. I went from that point in. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to add a little knob of thickness right there on the end of that, because it's not supposed to be super thin. It's a very thick, heavy material that his outfit's made out of. So, because it's supposed to be a chainmail Kevlar type of situation. So that's what we have. But I'm going to thin that out just a little bit. There we go. Now I'll come back up the middle here. so that when this is erased, I'll have no problem. Now, you really shouldn't go on with such a small point and, fill in the ink, because it risks leaving spots. I oversaturate my ink, so I'm not worried about it. But there are points where you can really, really, really mess this up if you go doing this and then you erase, and you'll have a bunch of what I call peekers, which is open holes in there. And if you have that, you'll have problems. So always use a thicker pen. Don't do like I'm doing. I'm one of those type of guys that I am sure to oversaturate and fill everything in, because I'm paranoid of that. But yeah, if you're an aspiring artist, don't do this technique, because an editor will kick your butt. You can do this once you're a little more experienced and you get paranoid like me about getting the page done, so you can go in and fill in all the black spots. And just to show proper technique here, I'll go out and go ahead and fill that in. But use a brush, use a bigger pen, and fill that out so that you don't have that problem. And whatever you do, don't skip around. When you're inking, don't skip around and leave spots and say, I'll come back to that later, because you won't find out about it until you've erased it. And it'll totally blast your artwork. Because if you forget it and don't see it and fill it in as you're going along, it will eat your lunch later when someone calls you on it. Or it could cause a starburst effect on your ink, especially if you're inking directly over graphite without erasing it, like I am. Because what'll happen is, when you hit that soft spot of graphite that's not inked, right there on the edge where it separates from the fresh graphite and raw graphite to the ink, it'll cause this streaky starburst effect, and it'll go out like fingers, boom, like that, because you'll catch the graphite underneath the ink in comparison to the raw graphite next to it. Don't do that. It'll mess you up. It'll mess you up bad. So be sure to get all of your transitions and make them smooth and knock that out, because if you don't, you'll pay for it dearly later. And I'll tell you, I'm talking from experience of doing that. I am in no way, form, or fashion perfect, nor am I the best at this at all. There are way better guys out there than me. But I do my thing, The cool thing about this is there's not anybody that can do me better than me. So, and that's the same thing it should be with any artist. Don't go and compare yourself to anybody else, because you'll beat yourself up and you'll be like 90 before you know it, because you haven't drawn in 30 years, and you're sitting there going, I'm 60 years old and now these youngsters are crushing me, blah blah blah, and then you'll start killing yourself slowly, and then you'll end up 90 and you'll be looking back from the home or wherever you're at, and you'll end up regretting it. So don't beat yourself up over that. Every day that you have, you draw your best and knock it out and move on. And you strive to do better tomorrow. That's all you can do. So knock it out. Get out there and make it. But if you're not drawing or writing or doing anything that you're passionate about, whatever it is, if you're not doing something productive about it, then you're not doing it. I say all the time, I'm not an artist if I don't draw every day. I'm not an artist that day. I was an artist yesterday, I'll be an artist tomorrow. But if I don't draw today, I'm not an artist today. And I live by that. I really do. I do believe it wholeheartedly. Just like writing, if I don't write today, I'm not a writer today. I was a writer yesterday, I'll be a writer tomorrow. So I make sure that I block time and I write stuff. And, inking is no different. Sometimes I'm an inker, sometimes I'm not, And I'm okay with that because that's not my primary goal. I may not ink for 2 or 3 days, which since I have comics regularly going right now, I can't go a day without it. But it is what it is. So, but anyway, we're knocking this bad boy out. I may even get a little bit of color down on him. I don't know if I will yet or not, because I want to make sure that the line work matches up with the Submariner in this piece. But who knows? I may leave it open and just leave it like this as canvas, and go ahead and color it up and put the heroes in there and no background. But I did say I was going to put in a trim for a World War II aspect, so I want to hold true to that too. So I should probably do that. And I've got a couple of ideas for a good cool shot of a Panzer, which is a tank, and a couple of other things going on. So who knows? It'll be a big surprise. But after I finish the Namor piece, adding to this, we'll decide what we want to do and decide if anyone's interested in this. And I may make a contest to see who gets this. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. We'll see once it's closer to being done. But then again, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, we've got his his hood, mask, wings, his shoulders. Got them all lined up here. Really cool. Now what I want to do next is I want to go in, like I said, I want to finish out this shoulder, and I want to do some of this heavier stuff, but I'm going to come back around. I'm going to finish this before I skip it and do exactly what I told you guys not to do by skipping it. Now, I've got that covered. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back around the shoulder, finish out the chest line, do the star, and then I'm going to come in and finish all these scales out, and then I'm going to get into this face real quick. And just to show the transitional effect, I may start doing a little bit of coloring on it, even though it's not finished inking yet. I may do some of the color transition just to show how this is going to look and do a gradation down. Now, I'm going to ask the people that are present right now. I'm going to look back up and see who's present. Oh, no. It's so late, everybody went to bed. But that's okay. I guess I'll make that decision myself. That's okay, too, though. I think I'm going to mess around with this a little bit and do the gradation here. I want to make sure that point catches the shoulder. And do a little bit of coloring on this as well to just kind of even it up a little bit. I don't know. Because it was such a weird day today. But I just want to shake things up a little bit and get in the groove to finish this. So I'm going to throw down this ink real quick, and then I may do some coloring on this as the next step. But even if I do some coloring on this, I still will throw down for the Submariner for tomorrow's piece, because I want to finish that and get this trio in place. Let's see. I just wanted to stay committed and hold up for you guys and show up and be here, be present, and make this work and knock it out of the park nonetheless. So I was tested today to see if I was going to get to make it before the 24-hour period of midnight was up, you know, because I try to go from midnight to midnight with these things and make my 365. But man, I tell you what, I almost missed it this time. So I was like, what am I going to draw? I don't have the Submariner laid out. What am I going to do? And I'm not easily flustered. That was pretty intense for me for a minute, because I don't want to let you guys down with this stuff. You know, I love doing these things, and as long as you guys keep coming, I'll keep drawing them, because we're going to get a lot more into the how-to stuff here pretty quick once the sketchbook is finished up. But wow, man, I cut it close. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over this just a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to run out this shoulder and this chest piece and come back down and go ahead and knock out these scales here. But if you guys want to see me color a little bit of this, I may do that real quick too. I don't know. Grab a couple of Copics and go to town here. Okay. Now these interiors are getting a little thin, but I can control most of it with my line weight for my pen, but probably should recommend you guys use smaller pens for this. Because this is old hat for me, so I'm not really concerned. And now, rotate this bad boy so you can get some work done. Rotate it, rotate it. So, it's late. It's late. Here we go. Cool deal. All right. There, cool. Now, I've got out here to this glove, to that glove. Now I'm going to go down under here and finish this this chest piece out. And then I'm going to go back and work on that face with a finer line, because I really want to get into that. So there we go. Cool deal. And he's coming together. He's really looking sharp. I'm very pleased with this piece. Of course, like I said, I've drawn Captain America probably, I don't know, a few thousand times at least. I mean, everybody's like drawing Deadpool and drawing Spider-Man and, you know, Wolverine. Not me, man. I'm drawing Cap, and I'm drawing, you know, I like to draw Cap, and I like to draw The Thing, and I like to draw some of the more classic characters, the more Boy Scout type characters, because they just seem clean and wholesome and easy to draw. You don't have to worry about the emotional aesthetic so much as getting the clean, patriotic figure down. You can really do it, man. You can really do it. You can have a good time with it. But do what works for you. And I get sick of hearing about all this, you know, the same heroes, the same 10 heroes over and over and over and over and over and over and over. That drives me nuts. It's like, draw Batman, draw Wolverine, draw Deadpool, and it's like, pick another character. There's only 3,000 Marvel characters out there, and you're jacking with these, you know, 4 or 5, and DC's got the same thing. They've got, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 characters, and everybody keeps drawing the same top 5 over and over and over like it's going to change something or they're going to make a difference, and it just doesn't impress me. It really doesn't. I don't have to mess with that. So, and I'm not knocking for anybody that wants to draw them. I'm just saying I get burned out really easy with the same top 5 characters over and over and over, and especially after the last 20, 30 years now of Deadpool being in your face because of X-Force and whatnot, and now it's all popular again because of the movie, which I dig. I'm a huge fan of the movie. I'm a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds. Love the dude. He's awesome. He's one of those signature actors that has a style and acts the same way. It's Samuel L. Jackson as Samuel L. Jackson in whatever picture they're in. Ryan Reynolds as Ryan Reynolds in, and he's got that mannerism, that demeanor, and that acting style. It's the same thing with De Niro, and before that, it was the same thing with John Wayne. I'm a huge John Wayne fan. Love classic stuff. John Wayne is one of my favorite classic actors. I love that because he had a signature style. He had a walk. He had a delivery style. And it was always that same way, unless he was playing Rooster Cogburn, which was totally a different type of character for him, because he didn't get to play, it wasn't John Wayne playing something, it was actually a character role, so that was a big difference. But he didn't get to adapt or construct that one as much as he did the other stuff, because the other films that he was in were pretty much the same thing. They were the same theme. They were niched. It's like Steven Seagal these days. I say these days, the late 90s, early 2000s. That's what he was in. It was niche. Van Damme was the same way. Jean-Claude Van Damme was the same way. So they were very niched. And I think Ryan Reynolds has a very cool niche right now, and he's smart because he's nailing those type of characters. Same thing with Jason Momoa. He has an acting style and a same character type persona that resonates with people right now. And that's the reason, he played the same character as Aquaman in Stargate Atlantis, and then you get the same buff bearded, type of character, dreadlock wearing type of character in Ronin from Stargate. But since he discovered that role, he's always been, able to play that big, mean, strong, silent type, like he did in Frontier, like he did in Game of Thrones, and so on. So I really like seeing those type of characters. But back to the point, though, you see in comics that, fans go towards what's hot in the moment, and they always tend to lean towards 5 or 10 specific characters, and that's what they always want to talk about, and that's what they'll always ask you to draw. And it's one of those things that drives me crazy, pretty much. I like to diversify and expand my characters. And even though I'm drawing a lot of series, I still don't want to mess with that, I don't want to do pinup after pinup after pinup of that guy or that girl. And once it hits a hot movie, here recently, the fad movie type of situation, they're niched. So they have cult followings coming over from the comic books back in, and then new fans are coming in from the movie back into the comic books. And it's just... it's the same thing. They're like, well, draw Wonder Woman. And I'm like, I don't want to draw Wonder Woman. I've drawn Wonder Woman like 80 times. So, and that's part of why I did this series, so I could draw something over and over and over in a different way. I can draw different characters and draw, every show is different for the most part. I mean, I know I've drawn a Cap card already, and I drew a Johnny Storm Human Torch. But I didn't draw an action shot with Cap, and I like this one a lot better. I like doing action stuff a lot more than just static headshots. And I realized that when I was going through that series, there are so many of those that are still headshots. It's like, why am I so bored with headshots? And then I look back through the cards, and it's just like, yeah, so many of them are headshots. So I like doing this one right now because it's a little bit more diverse. And I get to hang out with you guys a little bit longer as we knock this out. And I know I said I was going to go back into to do his face here, but I want to get these lines set before I mess them up or get off track with them, just to round out the edge down to his belt, so that if I decide to color it after I do his face, the torso will be pretty much on point. Okay, so I didn't forget where I was going or whatnot just yet. Not just yet. Oh, excuse my sniffles there. My allergies are hitting me. The weather's dropping. I can feel it. It's getting colder. And the drastic weather change, because it was, like I said, in the 80s, it's dropping down to cooler temps, so it's starting to mess with my allergies a little bit. But that's okay. That's okay. Hey, Nick, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate the compliment, buddy. Now, before I go any further into that, I'm going to switch pins, because I know what I'm going to do. I'll get halfway through it, and it'll be overweighted because of the fact that I didn't change up. So I'm going to go with a 0.3 here, see? An 03. Peek. This is substantially smaller. Now, I know I'm laying a thick line here on the lip because of the shadow underneath it, but the rest of this stuff I will back off a little bit and draw this stuff a lot finer. So here we go. And we're going to knock this stuff out. Get that lip line in there. And the reason I wanted to work with a finer pen is because I can go back and I can retouch thinner lines, but once it's down, I mean, it's down, man. It's solid. So I like to use thinner pens on these things because of the fact that, one, it offsets the weight of the detail just a little bit and refines it in just a little more. But I like to keep cleaner lines because then I don't have to mess with it, and I can build up where I want and not have to worry about it looking universally sound as the same weight as the helmet line. Even if it does become that thick, I can always control that line and keep it clean. People always ask me about this too. You know, why do you always dilate one eye bigger? Because one side always does. You have a prominent eye. So this would be retracted and shrunken in just a little bit because it's more focused and acute. So this one would be a little bit more dilated to let more light in to compensate for the difference. So think about that. It's just, if you've got a hard stare, you're going to see one eye retract in just a little bit harder because that other side's going to come up, okay? So that's it. That's why I do that. And a lot of people don't put in those little details like that. But I like to, so there we go. Now his face is in, his eyes are in, and the line weight looks pretty balanced. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I've got him looking up a little high, though, so I want to curve that down. There we go. Because that's his prominent eye, you know, so he'll be squinching this one down and opening this one up, and it gives him that kind of, with the eyebrow arched up kind of grimace. That's why this one points just a little bit more on that side as well, which I'm going to add a little more shadow under that line. I know I inked it well, but I just want to shadow it in just a little bit more. And now I'll get back over here and go with this. Oh my goodness. I was about to sneeze. Okay, we're good. Wow. Live here, people. It happens. Oh my goodness. I was about to sneeze. My nose was going off there. Oh. That would add a whole new aspect to this thing, and I do not want to do that. But anyway. Wow. Yeah, I know what I'm doing when I finish this. I'm going to go take an allergy pill. Wow. Anyway, that was crazy. But I'm going to do this glove here and let that have a second to dry while I'm doing this. And then I'm going to come back in, and like I said, I think I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to give this a minute to dry, and then I'm going to clean it up, and I think I'm going to start coloring the shoulders and the head a little bit. And I think I am going to go ahead and color that because I want to get that going and see how it looks in transition. Okay, I think this is going to be a great piece for that. And I might even do it partially and leave it alone, and then go ahead and do some lower inking and then leave some of it in pencil. And the reason I may do that as well, because if you guys like it, is because of the fact that it'll be a great transition for each character. I don't know yet. We'll see. I mean, I'm not trying to get all Andy Warhol or anything like that over this, you know, because he did that with a lot of his pieces. He would do sketches, not just photography, but he would do sketches, and he would go in and leave part of it pencil, part of it ink, and then he would paint part of it. So, you know, he was a painter as well, so he did a lot of cool stuff. And a lot of people don't understand how he did things the way he did, but that's part of the magic. Yeah, I've never had that before. That was funny. A sniffling fit. Are you going to sneeze or not? Let it go. No, don't. But anyway, that's who I am, people. I'm a wild card. Yeah. Never know what to expect. Oh, goodness. That's all right. I was up on stage once, and I was giving a speech, and I hate doing speeches just like everybody else. And my phone went off, and I gave this big spiel, you know, because I gave this big spiel about phones, and you know, while we're in the presentation, please take notes and keep your phones down so you don't get interrupted, so we can do this and keep on time. And then I'm sitting there talking, in the middle of it, my phone, beep. It was great. So whatever. That's part of why I don't take anything seriously as far as that goes. I mean, I'm professional as I can be about it, but I love to cut up, and that's, yeah, when stuff happens, I just move through it. So, but at least I didn't sneeze, though. I was able to stop. I could feel it coming on. But anyway, let's see what we got going on here. I'm going to do this abdomen. Like I said, the reason I'm doing this, these other areas around here, is because I want to give this just a little more time to dry before I erase it, another minute or two. So that's why I'm coming in here and getting this stuff done, getting this all lined out. So we've got that going on, and as soon as I do this, the top of this glove here, I'm going to go ahead and do the top of this ridge here, and then I'm going to catch this other little corner right here. And now we're going to go off and get this done. So, no, Nick, it's not a commission piece. Thanks for asking. No, it's not a commission piece. It is open. It's an open piece of art. It will be for sale. It's going to be it will appear in my sketchbook in May. after my 100th episode, I'm taking my first 100 pieces and putting them in, selecting the best of what I've got and putting it into a sketchbook, which people will be able to get a hold of. And it's a fan art sketchbook, so it'll be at cost. Then I've got these pieces, these individual cards and pieces that are going to come on. Just in case you've never seen before, while I'm letting this set, and I'm trying not to break out that line there, while I'm letting this set, I'll show you guys a little bit, just in case you haven't seen. These are the cards. This is the first one that I did back last May. There's Venom, there's Iron Man. You can see these as I go through them. There's just tons of these things. I'll go through them real quick. They're all going to be for purchase. As I've been talking about putting them as rewards for my Kickstarter for my new book and the sketchbook coming out. So there's plenty to go by as far as that goes. And there's Raven, there's Flash, there's Green Lantern, there's Lobo, of course Robin, Nightwing there, there's, let's see, the Penguin, Mystique, Fire and Ice, Spider-Man and the Lizard, one of my favorite cards, Beast hanging out upside down, there's Colossus, just one of my favorites, Deadpool messing with Yoda in a Wookiee suit, thought that was hilarious. There's Mary Jane. Just to give a couple, I'm not going to go through all these, but there's a few in here that are pretty cool. There's Cap. There's Mojo. That's a good one. Bishop. Domino. I love that one. These need to be pressed, though, because they're sitting safely in an art drawer. Off to the side right now. There's a few, though, just to give you an idea. So it's cardstock. It's 3x5 index cards. They're blanks, and that's why they have to be. They curl because of the ink and the saturation from the paints and the pencils. So I tend to erase those very clean, color them up. Then I go in and let them set. Then I press them, and that way they can be framed. But the stock is very cool for the show because of the fact that I don't have to send out, for thousands of pages and blanks. I use, just standard index card stocks for these because of the fact that it's just more unique that way. And it's a very forgiving stock, and I'm able to do a lot of stuff with it. So, with that said, I'm going to clean my eraser here. So I'm probably going to shake the table a bit. But I'm going to start up here on this head. I'm going to go in and clean this up quite a bit. So we will go right across here and clean up this torso. And see, I did it. I knew I was going to do it. I did it. Because I said something, I knew I was going to do it. I just erased a bunch of the scales from his armor. I knew I was going to do it. It happens. But, and like I said, when you're instructing and you say not to do it, that's when you're going to do it live, guaranteed. I was just waiting to see what was erased. So, anyway, this is just a Stadler, actually. A Stadler plastic polymer eraser. And I like using these because they come across clean and they don't streak unless I hit wet ink, which they'll streak really bad, but I try not to do that. So anyway, now I'm going to get that out of the way, try not to smudge my pencils too much. He cleaned up really well. I've only got a couple of spots that I want to touch up on. But see, when you instruct it, that's when you miss them. And I go back over it real quick and touch on the ink. So I'm going to touch this up real quick before I hit it with some markers. I've got some Copic paints. I'm going to go at it. We're going to have some fun with this. So, cool and deal. All right. I didn't add that to the original drawing, so I want to add it now. This nice, cool nose ridge for his mask. So we've got that going on. Now I'm going to grab some Copics here. Bear with me just a second. Gotta move the old pencils off of the Copic box. There we go. Bear with me just a second, grabbing my blues. So we have them going on. Okay, cool and deal. I want this to be bright and animated of sorts, so I'm going to go in with a different setup. I got my Copics. So now I'm going to throw down here some Copics. And I'm going to grab one of my spare color sheets here so that I don't jack up anything online. With the color scheme. So now I'm going to go in with testing out a couple of these real quick. See which way I want to go. I've got a BG15 here, and I've got a really, really nice 04. I think I'm going to go in with the 04. I like the look of this one. And of course, I've got a B14, which is way too dark. So we're going to go in with an 04 here. First off, this is a B04. Okay. I'm going to go right in here. Right directly over this brush tip. I'm trying to lay it over so that I don't mess it up, because I like to mess around with these paints, but I don't like to press too hard because I'm heavy-handed, so I have to be very cautious because I'll screw it up. And that's okay because I'm going to go in with a highlighter anyway. Just a second. But I just want that outer edge to be super light and leave some room for some shadows. Because I've been asked not to go in and color flat. Because a lot of the cards that I draw, I tend to color flat with it. And that's where I go in and lay out everything in one solid color and go back over it and layer it up. And I don't normally leave my highlights, but I'm trying to because of the fact that I get asked to. So, but with this being a hard canvas on this mask, it's very easy and forgiving, so I don't really have to mess with it too much. And it looks darker, like a leather type of finish, so I don't have to really mess with it. But we're not going World War I cap, so I don't have to put in a leather strap or anything like that, because this is not the movie version. This is the Invaders version. There is a difference. I'm leaving that edge open because I'm going to go back in with that other marker right here, because this one's a little lighter. And most people would have laid it first, but the thing is, like I said, I'm trying to do a little different transition. And this one has a little more green in it, so it'll look a little more of a washed kind of look rather than just lighter blue. Because I have a B00 and I have a B000, but they tend to be too thin for what I'm doing here, so I'm not going to go that route. And I'm going to leave this mouthpiece a different color on purpose because that's where we're getting the direct light on his face. So that's when we'll do that. And I think I'm just going to start light back here. Just going to go ahead and get that in there. Get that peak. Try not to jack this up. Right at the top of that shadow. And that right there, my friends, is why I draw with a much larger ear so that I can go in and do this if I run over. So now what you want to do when you're doing these scales is, me personally, what I like to do is go from the center out when you have lines like that in the middle and work it out this way. And then what you do is you go in and you put in your shadows underneath those like this. Because it'll go off the bottom, not on the scale itself. It'll go off the bottom. And that's what simulates the weight. It's a shadow on the underside. I like to do it like that because then I don't have to mess with that. So it goes right in there, boom. It adds all that extra weight to it. Boom, boom, right there. And then I come up around the bottom side here for underneath and leave those highlights in there, but don't have to worry about that heavy shading across the board where I just put it in on the outline outside. But there's 3 or 4 blues that I'll be using in this anyway, so I really don't have to worry about. And I've decided I want to put a mark right there. But anyway, I'm using a couple of blues in here so I can go in and do whatever I want with this as far as that goes. You just reverse the highlight and leave some open space for the blue to absorb in the paper and really, really pop. And vice versa with the green, you know, the blue-green, either way. You just have to kind of tinker with it, add it in there, and show where those muscles are and all that good stuff. Because what I want to do here is put a little bit of a peak off that black, but not much. A little bit of that divot on both sides. We'll put that highlight down on the back side over here. Come in about the middle. Put it down right there. There we go. Cool deal. Just a little bit. I like to put in a lot of this blue-green because, like I said, it makes it look like it's leathery or weather-worn, you know, combat-worn, that kind of thing. And it adds just a different dynamic and depth to it, which it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to go through and do all of this way. But, I mean, it's just how I want to do it right now with this particular piece. So, I'm going to add in these different shade elements here. Trying to round that out some because I'm going to put that as a highlight. And again, highlighting from the middle out on this one and on this one. And now when I go in, I'll pop in an overlay on this side because it's a little bit darker, a little less light on this side. And put in those shadows on the outer side. Because again, the light's coming down from this way on the back side of him as his primary light source. Now, a lot of people go off and freak out about it, and they're like, well, why didn't the torch light him up? Well, you won't see that, though, because he's down front. The torch is in the background. He's further back, so hence why that doesn't work that way. That's why he has a separate light source. And like I said, I want it to have that blue-green look as a base in this area because it's going to be darker again before we go into this white side here of the arm. Do the shadow on these scales like that, and then pop in a shadow along that line. Boom, done. Then we'll go in here and add this up this way. A lot of people would go in and do heavy true lighting and say, you know, well, why didn't you highlight it under here because of the reflection off of his shield and whatnot? And yeah, I don't like to do that because this is a flat surface, so there's a difference. It's a flat colored surface. It's reflective only by the tones within it, not smooth polished. It's not like it's Bucky's version of the Captain America suit, which was all metallic and shiny. Cap's has never been really shiny in that regard. Never been shiny in that regard. So, with that said, though, I'm going to get down to this piece here, and I'm going to start coloring this in. Like I said, I know we have the tones over here, and then we have the highlights coming in, and then I'm going to drop in some heavier shadows with some of these darker blues, and that'll be it for tonight. But I like him to have a little more of a green tone because of the fact that that shows that this is having light hit it rather than it being solid blue and being just one monochromatic color, as it were. Because if it was monochromatic like people make it sound or make it come out, then what you'd have is you'd have one blue and it would go from 00 to like royal black almost, because you can make the blue so dark that it would look black and just totally wash out either direction. And by doing that, you lose so much detail, but to each their own. And now got a couple of things going on here like that. And when that dries, that'll pop out and you'll see a little more of that green in there, which will make it look even better. And it'll show those open spaces. I'm going to color down that particular strip there because it'll be the strip that turns downward and gives him a true shadow into his chest. And then we have this underside here where this front delta is going to block out this piece right up in here like that. People don't account for a muscular overlay whenever they do these in a lot of cases, and I see that a lot. I mean, like I said, I'm not the best at this. I know guys that color way better than I do. They draw way better than I do, but this is my thing. So what I like to see is this come together as solid as possible. And this is all going to be nice and dark blue down here. So we're going to go ahead and map this out in this darker blue, this 4. It's B04 for the blue. Oh, I had a little bit of overrun there. Okay, cool deal. Now we're going to get this shoulder as well. And we should have some highlights out here. So that'll be that way. And like I said, I know it looks weird right now, but whenever the color comes together and dries and then the darker blues are applied, it'll look a lot better. Now, just to get this going on with this line here, I'm going to black that out. Okay. And now I'm going into, there's a BG 05. I don't want to go that route. Here's a blue 06. This will be the one I'll shadow with, just because it's just a shade darker without overkill. Okay. Now, got to come in under these scales here. And blend into these shadows. And there we go. Cool deal. This is going to give him that kind of retro leather, like I said, that retro leathery look kind of thing going on. And once it dries, it'll have 3 or 4 different layers of prominent color going throughout. So that'll look really cool. And there's the base for his connection there for his hood to go around his ears. And I'm just catching the darker spots. I'm trying to leave those primarily alone. Elsewhere, let's see. Because I'm afraid of messing up these colors and having them go 10 different shades on me. I tend to use 3 or 4 different options so they'll blend well. Because this is an experimentation process for me too. Like I said in the beginning of this one, I wanted to see how that vintage look would come out if it was true to the way it was designed, which was an antiqued look. And that's the reason we're getting this kind of look to it, because I want it to have that retro kind of feel. It's coming out. It is coming out, so cool deal. I may be happy with this one yet. Oh man, getting another allergy attack coming on. I can feel it. Let's see how this goes. Instead of doing this on this this Hyplex 11 by 17 paper, which is it's a little better grade than most. This is actually a cardstock here, so it's the same weight as raw Bristols. So that's what I like to do. So this is a cardstock, just in case you guys want to know. I mean, it's super thin, but it is a card grade. So just so you know. I'm assuming that I answered Nick's question there before he left about what stock I was using, but some people get really picky about that stuff. I don't know if he did or not, and I hope not, but that's okay too. All right, we've got these super darks in. I think we're good there. I'm going to play with this mask a little bit. And ridge these lines right into place like that. Get some detail color in here. Try not to go crazy with it, because start to make him look like Rob Liefeld's Captain America, which is not a problem because I'm a fan of Rob's, but still, you know, I want to keep it cool and not, again, go crazy and overwork it, because that's the direction I tend to lean when I get into some of these more detailed characters and start panning this stuff out. And it's one of those things where people start screaming, "Stop!" So, you know. Let's see. I'm going to grab a flesh pack. What did I do with them? What did I do with my cookings? I'm trying to find my. Oh, there. Finally. I'm trying to find my Copics here so that I can start going in with these and coloring some skin tones. Now, with Cap, I like to use this Skin White, which is an E00. I like to use this one because of the fact that he is a lighter tone guy. He's not as tan as some of the other characters. I mean, he has a European Nordic type of descent, so he's a big dude. Well, he is now. He is now. He wasn't as the previous Steve Rogers before treatment, but he's not super tan. He's not super. Wow, someone running their car tonight, apparently. But he's not super dark, so I'm not going to go in and just, you know, blow it up. I'm going to keep it simple. Just giving him little accents of color here and there. And I'm using a double, let's see, I used a 00, an E00, and now I'm using a standard E11, which is Caucasian skin color for the most part on these characters. And now I've got an E13, which I'm going to touch on here and there. But like I said, I don't want to give this up too much because I don't want to go tearing through him blast him into, you know, like he's been in a tanning bed or something crazy like that. Just want to give him a variation on color. I'm going to catch right underneath this dark spot of this hood here for his mask. Go right up under there like that. Give him a little bit of an under eye. Like that. And then the bottom right corner of his ears on both sides. I like to give him just a touch right in the corner. That way it kind of accents that a little bit. And then brushing just a little here and there to kind of build up that outline shadow and make that mask look a little deeper. And not too much more because I don't want to mess it up. Make him look like he has a chocolate mustache or something. Look, Cap drinks his chocolate milk. But anyway, all screwing around the side. I get right in the corner of the mouth there for the lip overlap. Now, he's coming together okay. He's starting to look all right. Starting to look more like Cap. Now, I'm going to either go, I've got a 6 here. I'm either going to go with this B6, which is super dark, or I'm going to go with this bright electric fluorescent dull 2. This is a cool one. Hey, Phil. Glad you made it, man. Because it is Cap, I'm going to try out this B06 first and see how that goes, because I don't want to go super bright on top of the green because it'll contrast it too much, and then it'll eat a lot of it out of the baseline color. It'll change it. So, because if you go in with fluorescence, when you use warm colors like this, even though these are cool blue, they're blue and they're cool anyway, but when you go in with the warmer type of flats that make it look more like fabric, and then you start to go into the bolder, brighter colors, it will really jack it up if you go messing with it too much. And I don't like doing that, so I'm not. And I'm just kind of doing the Venom thing here, where I go in and touch in the middle like this and build up a little bit of contrast and color and flow in the middle of the shadow, kind of darkening that down a little bit. Not too much though, because I don't want to, like I said, choke out the color. Just kind of add it in there to make it sprinkle about. So get up on the helmet here. Get right in the corner of that nose, and then I'll leave the outlying edges just fine. A little bit under the jaw here to kind of pop it. A little bit under the helmet. Ridge line for the jaw, that chin pad, and now I'm going to leave that be. So, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a gray and a triple blue first. Yeah, we're going to go triple blue first. Kind of trim this out just a little bit to add some contrast to it. Not much. Just in these areas of the star to make it pop. Just to kind of make people question what's really there. And I don't want to go with a blue. I don't want to go with a red. What am I trying to say? Either a gold or a brown or a gray, because a lot of people like to trim this out in a light yellow, and it makes it look so weird. Popping in these crystal water blue eyes, they get referenced as. Super, super light, super soft, super contrasting. Don't go too crazy with it. A lot of people like to go and just make a muck of that, and I don't, because it makes it too dark. I'm trying to find something really light here to contrast without going crazy, because I need an undershadow for that eyelid, just to warm it up a little bit more. There we go. Make it look a little more lively. And I think I'm going to shrink that pupil down just a little bit. It's got a little too much light on it. So now we've got that going on, I am going to grab a light gray. And I have a toner 0, which is super light. I'm going to go right in here on the teeth to kind of show that he has a shadow of that lip and build that up. I appreciate it, man. I almost ruined the thing. I'm sitting here having a sniffle attack. Just sniffling because of my allergies and stuff. And I had the temperature dropped outside, I guess, because it got really hot today. It hit 87, which is warm for this time of year for us. And then all of a sudden I had a fit going on, and I thought I was going to lose it, man. I thought I was going to lose it. I was like, oh, please don't sneeze. Not now. Please don't sneeze. Now I'm going to go in here just a little bit and give this a little bit of ridge here. Just a little, not much. And I'm back with the blue 000. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm kind of toning this out where it puts an off-white in there without putting an off-white. And I don't want to go eggshell, because everybody tends to go, like I said, they go eggshell or they go yellow. And I don't want that to go on. I want this to look like a blue-gray kind of thing, to kind of bring this out just a little bit, because there's so much going on in this costume, and I don't want it to be oversaturated with different colors. I want it to run with the blue-green theme throughout in the white areas, and keep it really light, because when this dries, it'll have a texture to it, but it won't be so overwhelming you go, wow, that's gray. So that's not what I want to do here. Now I'm going to go in, I'm going to go back with another blue that's not fluorescent. I have a B16, which I love this color. There we go, cool deal. Now this one is going to be super dark, and it's going to kind of, like I said, just do that whole black thing. It's going to do that super shadow thing going on, and it's bringing it to that other end of the spectrum. Just barely adding any in, because I don't want to eat this up. This is how you shadow in your low shadows. Bring it in like this, just right in those center spots, and then run away. Put it down your line and then run away. Seriously, just back away slowly, because that's your hard shadow, okay? And I love doing this, because then this makes it round out and pop out and all that good stuff, and makes it pick up a lot more color along the way, because when it dries, it shows all those highlights even better. So now I have royal blue. Now this one is crazy. You have to be very cautious and careful with this, because this is nuts. This one will run on you and it'll take over. This is what you use instead of your black and your blue. The hard black toners that you'd want to use, this is what you use in your hard spots, your royal blue. and it will bring it out like no tomorrow. And I mean, I'm just barely touching this thing because I want it in 1 or 2 places throughout, and that is it. Because it will run amok, and it'll be like, it'll stand out, is what I'm saying. It'll stand out too dark. So you want to put it in just a couple of random places like this, and then leave it completely alone after that. Now, he's starting to get seriously dark here. There we go. Cool deal. I'm having fun. Yeah. For those watching this later on the YouTube channel, Phil said that he just he said he sneezed before unexpectedly and his hand shot across the page. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. I have to watch flicking these tips because, see, splatter, 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 splatter. I have to trim that out now and draw stuff over it whether I want to or not because I put stuff on the page. But it's like, that's not professional. It is what it is. So anyway, so I can play around with this a little bit more. I'm going to go down here and erase this because this is outlined. I want to cut into this whole thing here with the hand. I'm going to finish out that line right there. I specifically said not to do that earlier. So I want to go over. I do not want to put my hand on the wet ink. So bear with me just a second while my big knuckles are blocking the page. I'm going to go in here and put in the stick line for the outer edge of the shield, which a lot of people are going to be screaming, why didn't you use an oval? It is what it is. So we have Cap right there. He's looking awesome. I'm going to go in with this glove here so we can change things up. And no, tonight I'm not going to use a Sharpie. I know Kevin's going to ask me about that. Let's see. I need this box. Whoops. Knocked over my bottle. I need this center box with all my reds next to it. I want this glove to have a fabric leather type of look rather than a true hard red, because it's supposed to have tones to it where the shield won't. You know, a lot of the shield will be one flat color and be mirrored in places, and that's it. And I don't like to do the shield where it has 20 different shades of stuff because I just don't agree with it. But I do want the gauntlets and the boots. So we're going to go in with a 35, which is a lipstick red. Oh, nope, that's 29. We want 35 coral to go in and add that leathery look. Now, the reason I'm saying to add this is because you contrast it just by putting it in certain places. You kind of spot it to show a different red, and it'll add so much more vibrancy to the color that's around it when it dries. Okay, give that a 10 count, and then we're going to go in with this wonderful strong red and really, really darken things up. And I'm doing this kind of Venom style, like I keep calling that, you know, my trademark thing here, where I color from the center out and build up that color. And then I have a red violet, which I'll use for toning this down to give it that wonderful leather look. Okay, so I'm going to grab that. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, I have a it's called Red Violet, and it's truly red violet. It's an RV19. Okay, it's got a really cool warm pink to it, and just by contrasting the other two colors by mixing this in, it's going to make it jump out quite a bit, and it's going to add those dull points that we want for it to look like leather. Okay, I mean, that's starting to pick up right there. You can see it. And then we go in with an R39, which is a garnet color. So R39, I love this one. This is seriously maroon-esque. And I like to go in with this one because of the fact that I can go in on these low points for the shadow, like on this back side of the knuckle and on this back side of the knuckle and so on, so that we can get all this going on. It's that deep red in the center that makes it have that that leathery look, like it's got, you know, highlighted sun faded spots to it, and it makes it really cool. Now let me get these pins out of the way here so we can see what's going on. I'm gonna lay them all over to the side here. Bear with me just a second. And here we go. Yay, cool. Now we've got Cap coming out, okay? Looks pretty vibrant, pretty full, pretty colorful. I like it. He's making a great transition there. I didn't give it a color transition and stop as much as I probably should have. But what I'll do now is I'll go in with this one on the center of the torso and erase this out. So I'm going to shake, rattle, and roll here. And I'm going to go about halfway down the torso because I don't have it inked yet, and I don't want it to fade off. Grab my pen here because I cut a line out. And I don't want that to fade off. So, but now we'll leave that there as pencil for a second at least. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these streaks. And I'm going to go about halfway down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with this lipstick red to start. Make sure everything's really cool with it. Not going to bleed all over the place. Okay. Now what I like to do is I like to give the white stripe in the center and then go work my way out on either side. Because there's 9 stripes in the old uniform. There's a lot of variation in that. Over the years, it's changed quite a bit. Just kind of leaving that there a little bit. Oop, got some graphite right there. Do not want to catch that with that marker. I don't want to mess up my paints. So I'm going to leave that right like that. And now we've got this one on the side over here. Kind of leave it faded this way. And I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this like this or not. I'll see how well you guys like it before I go monkey with it too much more. And I'll finish up, of course, Namor, the Submariner. Namor, Submariner. In there, going to grab the strong red and put it up at the top here for the shadow and kind of thicken this up a little bit. Just kind of giving it a variation in shading. Nice variant. So now we're going to go with that wonderful 39 again. R39, just in case you want to know. Up here at the top, kind of shadowing it out a little bit because he's crunched over. So we want to give him a nice shadow to lean in on. And I ran over a little bit. Whoops. So I'll correct that. There we go. But he's looking really good. He's looking good. I like it. So anyway, I hope you guys are digging this. This is where I'm going to stop for a while tonight. We got exactly what I said I wanted to do for this one. And since I couldn't do Submariner up here yet till tomorrow, or today actually, I just wanted to kind of pop on and let this go and write it out. So we're going to leave it at that, and I'll catch up with you guys again tomorrow. I put in an hour and a half on this one, tinkering around with it, so that you guys can see what's going on. And once everything's resolved tomorrow and the repairman comes by, I will hop on and make it a happy Saturday with finishing up Namor and all this good stuff, and we'll get this finished up. But as it were right now, with where we're at, you guys, if you see this before I come on with the next one, the third piece to this tomorrow, give me some comments on it. Let me know what you think. Should I leave it as a gradation like this with the full color to the inks to the pencil and leave it like that and do all three colors, all three not colors but characters that way, or should I go on and color it all out and make this a massive piece as originally planned, which I think I'm just going to go ahead and color it. But like I said, I'd like to hear what you guys think about it, and if anybody's interested in it, we'll go from there. But yeah, as you guys know, we have this rock for a limited amount of time. It's a great party while we're here, but we have to set up the rack for the next generation and the next go around. So until tomorrow or later today, I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.